Okay, we have a bit of a crisis. This thing was obviously a little bit too long, and when I stretched it, that one popped off. And we have all these live stitches here. And then we have a few live stitches here, which is where I noticed it. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Confessions of a Yarn Addict podcast. This is episode 76 and my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns, I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website yarnaddict.co.uk. So I'm filming this first thing in the morning, well, just after 9 o'clock, so not too early. But if I look a little bit hot, it's because I've been working out this morning, and even though I have showered, I'm still a bit warm. So I got the window open. So if you can hear birdsong or a little bit of noise, it's just because I got the window open because it's quite warm in here. We've had amazing weather in Cornwall for the last 2 weeks since we got back from Spain. So yeah, I've been sitting in the garden a lot, doing a lot of knitting outside, especially over the weekend. I basically just spent the whole weekend sitting in the garden, really enjoying the sunshine. I don't think it's going to last too much longer. I think towards the end of the week it's going to cloud over and probably get a little bit cooler. So I'm enjoying this while it lasts. Welcome to episode 76. Today I'm going to share what I'm knitting, some new arrivals, and a few things that are going on. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and do check out my last episode 75, because my 2,000 subscriber giveaway is still going on. I can't remember when I said I would do the prize draw. Got a feeling it's around the middle of June, but I will check that when I edit this and put the date on the screen. But I will link the episode below. You have to comment on episode 75, so not this video but episode 75, in order to qualify. So I hope you will, if you haven't watched episode 75, please go and watch it. If you watched it and you commented, thank you very much, I really appreciate it. So let's talk about what I've been knitting. I actually cast them for a new project over the weekend. I have decided that I want to create some new workshop projects, and this project will be available, the pattern will be available just generally, but I also want to create some possibly exclusive workshop projects. I think I want to, from next year, well, maybe even this autumn, do more project-based workshops and smaller projects that you can either finish in a day or in a few days. I teach a lot of knitting workshops at the Knitting Hotel, which is a weekend retreat, and even though most of the time I'm only there for 1 day, sometimes I'm there for 2 days, but most of the time I'm only there for 1 day, I think a lot of them like to have a project that they can then finish over the next couple of days, because I might go and teach on the Friday and then they stay on for the Saturday and Sunday. And I've noticed a lot of people, the project will start on the Friday, a lot of people have finished them on the Saturday and Sunday. So I think I want to do more of those sort of projects. Obviously I teach elsewhere as well, so it's got to be projects that we can make a good start on in a day, because most places only teach for a day. So I am working on some new projects. This, kind of wish I'd made this slightly wider, but I'll come to that in a minute. I decided I wanted like a one skein small beaded lace knitting project. I'm teaching beaded lace knitting at the Knitting Hotel in July for 2 days. Now obviously I have a lot of patterns with lace, beaded lace, but I haven't designed anything with beaded lace for a while. So actually two of my projects at the moment are beaded lace. So I grabbed a skein of Monos Uruguay Fino in this gorgeous pink colour, which I've been wanting to work with for a while, and I cast them for just a fairly simple lace scarf. It does have beads, can you see that? And I wish I kind of made it slightly wider maybe. I was thinking it would be fairly short, just something that you can wrap around and pin at the front with a shawl pin or something, but it's actually coming out fairly long, so obviously it will be a little bit wider when I block it, but this is the kind of length I was thinking, but I've still got quite a bit of yarn left. So let me just quickly, because I forgot to do this, get my little scales out and let me just weigh how much yarn I have left. So I've got 51.5 grams of yarn left. I don't use all the yarn. I allow about 10% as a safety margin, so 5 to 10% usually, depending on what kind of yarn it is. For lace weight it might be closer to 5%, for 4-ply more like 10%. So I'll probably keep knitting, but this is kind of thing you can just keep going till you get to the length you wanted, really. And you can easily make it wider or narrower, so I may also actually do this as a wrap, so using 2 skeins and make it much wider, like double the width. But I will probably ask one of my sample knitters to do that, because I don't really fancy knitting the same thing twice. So I cast this on a Saturday, and I've actually been tracking how much time it takes me to knit it. So I've been setting the timer on my phone every time I've started knitting it, and I wrote this down. Hang on, let me just grab my notebook. So I've been setting the timer every time I've been knitting it, and I've just written all the times down in my notebook where I'm keeping track on what I'm working on this year. So I cast on Saturday. Today's Tuesday. On Saturday I worked on it for nearly just under 3 hours. On Sunday I worked on it for just over 3.5 hours. And yesterday I only worked on it for an hour and 20 minutes. Now the interesting thing is that yesterday I sat in the garden, out in the garden, for about 2 hours knitting, but I only knitted for an hour and 20 minutes of that. So I guess the rest of the time I was scrolling on my phone. So I'm trying to, every time I stop knitting, hit the pause button on my phone, and then when I start again, hit the play record button. So far I've spent 7 hours and 44 minutes on this project, and I'm over halfway, probably about 60% done. And this is where I put the marker yesterday. So this monkey marker is from the Corner of Craft, and I knitted, I think, about 4.5 repeats on the first day, 5.5 on the second day, I think, and then I knitted this yesterday, which was 1, 2, 2.5 repeats. So I'm going to move that now so I don't forget. So I didn't do a lot yesterday. It was quite a busy day yesterday. I did a lot of recording yesterday. I'm working really hard on trying to get this brioche online course I've been working on all year. As in, I worked on it a lot in January, worked on it a little bit in February, and then I barely worked on it at all in March, April and May, and I'm trying to get back to working on it so I can get it done. In my rainbow project bag from Sindra Arts, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, so apologies if I'm not, but I will link it below. I will link everything below. So that is the project that I've been focusing on mostly for the last couple of days. Now yesterday I didn't just knit for an hour and 20 minutes, but I didn't actually knit yesterday till like 3:30 in the afternoon, which is unusual for me because normally I knit like mid-morning for about half an hour to 45 minutes, and then I normally knit at lunchtime. But yesterday, because I was recording a lot, I basically spent all morning recording, so I didn't get as much knitting done yesterday. I skipped my morning knitting break, and lunchtime I just basically ate my lunch and then popped into tanks. I had some errands to do. So my other projects, which I did talk about last time as well, because this was the project I worked on in Spain, is my poncho. I have a poncho knitted in lace ball, which is the lace weight version of this, different colorway, called Lavinia. Yeah, Lavinia. And that one took 200 grams, and it's long enough to fit me, and I'm quite tall. So I thought if I used, lace weight yarn, 800 meters per 100 grams, two skeins, 200 grams, and I use 3.5mm needles. So I thought if I do 4-ply yarn, 200 grams would be equally as big. I know it's half the meterage, but I'm also using much bigger needles. I'm using 4mm needles. I'm thinking maybe I should have done 4.5, but it's too late now, so because I'm not re-knitting it. Anyway, yesterday evening I put all my stitches onto these tubes, and then I got various things to like secure them with, so I secured all of them. They're on 1, 2, 3 tubes, I think. I have one very long tube, and then I got some shorter ones, so it's all on tubes. If I just like put it up against my body like this, it comes down to just below my bust, like halfway down my, like halfway between my bust and my waist, really. And I would like it to at least come down to my waist. So, but obviously it's going to grow with blocking. So what I'm going to do this afternoon is pin it, actually soak it in lukewarm water with a bit of wool wash, squeeze out all the excess water in a towel, and then pin it out on my table to block it. And I'm going to block it like this and see how much it blocks out. Now once I've blocked it, it will quite often shrink back a little bit. I find the wool often does that. So I'm going to block it, and then once it's dry, probably hang it on my dress form for a day or two and see what size it ends up, and then I can make a decision. I'm hoping 2 skeins would be enough for like a petite version. So if you're shorter, you can do 2 skeins, and if you're taller and you want a longer version like me, you'd need 3 skeins. I do have another ball available, so that's not a problem, but I wanted it to be a 2-ball project, because once you get into 3 balls, it costs a lot more money. I did consider using the lace flower version, sorry, Sauber flower version of this yarn. So the Sauber ball, or Sauber ball 100, this is Sauber ball 100, that's 100% merino, and it's 400 meters, 100 grams. Sauber flower version is 150 grams, and it has 600 meters. So it is the same as the Sauber ball, it just has bigger skein size and bigger and more meters, obviously, but it's actually the same. And I was thinking about using that, but I thought 2 of those would be fairly expensive, and I didn't think, because they're about £20.50 each, I think, so I thought that would be more expensive, and I thought I probably wouldn't need 2. Kind of wish I'd done that now. So what I might do as well is ask one of my sample knitters if they can knit this up in Sauber flower for me. I wanted this for Yarndale in September, mainly because I find if I display something at a show which has beads in it, like bead lace knitting thing, I'm more likely to sell patterns. And I have 2 kind of ponchos like this. I've got the Lavinia, which is knitted in lace ball, and then I have another one called Peafowl Feathers, I think, which is knitted in lace flower. And if I ever put those on display, they sell a lot more. Lace flower and Sauber flower come in a very limited range of colours. There's more colours in the Sauber flower than the lace flower, but they don't come in as many colours as the lace ball and the Sauber ball. So that's kind of why I want to use the Sauber ball for this. But I don't usually order like a lot of each colour for shows, because there's so many colours. So the fact that it's going to need 3 balls is a bit of a problem. So I'm going to probably get it knitted up as well in Saba flour and see. I'll see how much I end up using, and then make a decision, because I can work out from this whether it would work in Saba flour or not. But so yeah, I'm going to pin that out later today and block it, so I will try and film that and see if I can include that at the end of this video. So those two have been my main projects. So this was my main project last week, and then the lace scarf kind of took over the weekend. But I've also been working on my socks. I think I haven't worked a lot on my socks because we haven't been out and about that much. So let's see. Oh, I worked on it more than I thought I had. Okay. So I put that marker in last time I filmed. That's also from the Corner of Craft, little pink sheep. I do really like Hannah's stitch markers, and I will link her below. So oh yes, I was knitting on this. We were out somewhere. I think we went to my father-in-law's for a barbecue about a week ago. I think that's where we were, and I hadn't brought any of the waist yarn because I like to put waist yarn in for the heel. So this is the first sock, which I would have knitted in the heel, but normally when I get to the heel, I'll knit these stitches that are going to become the heel on the piece of waist yarn, and then I will undo that waist yarn later and knit in the heel. So that's what I did on sock number 1. But because we weren't at home, and I'd forgotten to bring a waist yarn with me, and I wanted to keep knitting, I just kept knitting. So I haven't put any waist yarn in here, but what I did was I put a marker into the middle of that row. Now to unpick the stitches I need for the heel, I need to basically cut that stitch and then unravel half around, because the heel is worked on half the round, the stitches for the bottom of the foot. If you're knitting in stocking stitch all the way around, then it is a little bit of a problem when you get to the heel, if you don't put in a waist yarn or put in markers, because you have to make sure that the heel lines up with the toe, because the toe is like a wedge. Depends on what toe you do, I guess. If you do a round toe, that wouldn't be a problem. So I've done this before, where I've done the whole sock in stocking stitch on both sides, and then I've come to undo the waist yarn, come to cut the yarn, the working yarn, cut the knitting for the heel, and I have struggled to know exactly where to line it up with the foot. So, but that's not a problem here, because I do actually have it's rib. So on the foot, I know that I started and ended the front with a knit stitch, so I can just unpick this till I have like a knit stitch and then the purl stitches, and a knit stitch and the purl stitches there. I don't know whether that makes sense, but I might film it actually when I get to that point. But we haven't been out a lot, so I've not worked on this very much. Hopefully I will get it finished end of next week. So next week my parents are coming at the end of next week, and we've got to drive to Heathrow, which is near London, to pick them up. So I will probably, if I haven't finished those socks already, I'll probably work on them in the car when Simon's driving, and then that might be enough time to get them finished. But we'll see what we do this weekend. We're going to mainly be home doing things in the house to get ready for my parents coming, because the house is a tip and it needs a lot of cleaning. Okay, so it's the day before I'm actually going to record the podcast, and I'm just editing some videos at the moment. But this parcel came, and I was going to leave it till tomorrow when I record the podcast, but then I opened it just to peek inside to make sure it was what I thought it was. And now I've opened it, I really want to see what it's like. So I'm going to open it because I think there's something extra in here, so I want to show it off. So it came in this big parcel, and I'm just going to pull it out. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, let's see what's in here. Okay, so this is from String in Cheltenham. It's a new yarn shop, and I think it's opening in Cheltenham this week, possibly today when I'm filming this on Monday. Vicky Brown, who runs Vicky Brown Designs, I think it's called, which is a indie dyed yarn company. She also runs Stitches Tees with her sister, and I have one of their project bags which I got a few years ago, and I got her advent calendar not last Christmas but the Christmas before, and it's what I started making my crochet granny stripes scrappy blanket out of. So I ordered this, so let's just see what's in here. Okay, let's see what's in here. So little string bag with string on it, and oh, there was something else. I think there's something missing from my order. Hang on, let's have a look. Oh no, there's more in there. Okay, so first let me show you something. So I remember in the 80s when we had these jelly bags. Well, I saw this jelly bag. This is the crochet blanket I was talking about a second ago. So I saw this jelly bag in Norway when I went last summer, August, September. My mum and I went to a knitting show in Oslo, and one of the stalls, one of the yarn shops in Oslo, was selling these, and my mum and I both got one each, and I was worried about getting it home with me because it's quite big and I only had hand luggage. But I had a tote bag as part of my hand luggage, and I managed to fit this into my tote bag like this, and then I just put all my stuff inside there. So I got that. Anyway, Vicky has been sharing a lot on her social media, in her stories, about getting her shop ready, and in a lot of the pictures I could see these big jelly tote bags. So this is the Sun Jellies, the original jelly bag company, and I saw these and I kept seeing them in her stories. So in the end I sent her a message saying, "Are these on your website?" And she said yes. So I went on her website and I thought I will get one of the big ones, because I have a, this isn't a small one, I would say this is maybe a medium-sized one. So I thought I'll get a big one of these. It's a little bit different shape. I just think these are so cool. I nearly got the bright green one. She had them in quite a few different colours. I thought, do I go for the bright pink one, Barbie pink one, or do I go for the green one? So I went for the pink one. And the reason I was thinking about going for green one was because she also had these little tiny ones. I think she had the size that I've got the light pink in as well, but she also had these little tiny ones. Aren't they cute? Oh, I'm so excited. I was going to say, does it fit my phone in it? But I'm filming with my phone, so I can't do that. But let's just, so this notebook is nearly as long as my phone. I know it doesn't fit my phone in it. Isn't that cute? So this is still obviously the Sun Jelly company, and it's basically a mini version of the one I got in Norway. But because I was getting this in pink, I thought, do I get them both in pink or do I get one of them in green? But anyway, I went for both of them in pink. No idea what I'm going to use this for because it's so tiny. I must admit it is slightly smaller than I thought it would be. I didn't check it. I didn't check the measurements. Yeah, isn't that cute? No, they won't use that for. Maybe if I'm just making like a small project, or put beads and things in, or things carrying around the house, I don't know. But she also popped in this bag. I'm going to put, the stuff fell out, so I'm going to put it back in again. So she popped in one of her string bags, little project bags. It's navy blue, it's got the string. So her other project bags that she makes with her sister as part of the Stitches Tees, I think that's what it's called. I'll put the link below. She makes project bags and things, and they're all kind of like printed like this. And the one I've got is a black zip project bag that says Yarnivore on it. This is just a drawstring bag, perfect little project bag. I also quite like these for packing to go on holiday and things, put little things in. So in here, this is a little extra thing. In here there is, oh, I just dropped something. There are two of these stickers that say string. I just dropped one of them on the floor. There is a sample of Soak wool wash. Soak is my favourite wool wash. This is the Celebration scent. It's a non-rinse wool wash, and it used to be the wool wash I would always use. Recently I've been using Eucalan just because one of the yarn shops where I teach sell Eucalan, so it's been easier to get hold of, but I always used to use So because that was my favourite. And then she's put in a little mini skein. So it doesn't say what the mini skein is, I don't think. Hang on, is there something else in here? No, there isn't. Doesn't have a label. Looks like DK, so I assume it's a little DK mini skein. Yellow, bright pretty colour, so that was quite exciting. So project bag, I'm most excited about a project bag because I can use that. Soak, little mini skein, and string, 2 string stickers. So thank you very much, Vicky, if you happen to watch this. I really appreciate it. I just think these sun jelly bags are just so cool. I'll pop a little mini skein in there. It won't fit like a full-size skein, so this is a full-size skein. If I put that in there, that's kind of, if you fold a full 100-gram skein of sock yarn like that and pop it in, that's kind of the size of it. So I would say that this is probably not very useful in the grand scheme of things, but just pulling the label off. But it was just so cute, I couldn't resist it. But no idea what I'm going to use it for. Probably put on my desk for storing stuff in the things, I don't know. But I just thought it was so cute. I just had to have it. And this I am very excited about because this is just gorgeous. Pull the label off that one as well. That's just fabulous. And it goes with my pale pink one. I may actually put the crochet blanket because it is kind of falling out of here a bit with all the yarn. So I might actually just tip it into there. And then I can use that for something else because I had it's getting quite big now, and with all the yarn and everything, so I'm storing like all the yarn I'm using for it in here as well. So I think I'm going to use it for that for now. But yeah, I'm really excited. So if you're in Cheltenham, check out String, run by Vicky Brown Designs, who is an indie dyer. I assume she's going to carry on doing her indie dyed yarn as well, I don't know. But the shop looks amazing. If I happen to find myself in Cheltenham, I will definitely be popping in to check it out. But if you're in the Cheltenham area, do check it out. So that's, I just had to film this as I opened it because I was so excited. So now I'm going to pass you back to the regular podcast proceedings. Okay, we have a bit of a crisis. This thing was obviously a little bit too long, and when I stretched it, that one popped off. And we have all these live stitches here. And then we have a few live stitches here, which is where I noticed it. So I'm going to go and find a knitting needle and quickly try and slip those stitches back on the needle. Okay, so this clearly did not go to plan. I've got a long circular needle now. And this is slightly stressing me out, I must admit, but it's lace, I can fix it. It's not brioche. If it's brioche, it'd be a bit of a more disaster. I've got a very long circular needle here, which is what I've been using to knit with. So I'm going to try these over here first because there are more of them and they look easier to get back on the needle. Where is that? That's the thing that's kind of sprung off here. Okay, let's just slip that back on. I won't be able to make sure I've got them, like if any of them have unravelled more than, you know, a row, I'm just going to actually catch the stitch, and then I'll have to go back when I get it back on the needle. I'll have to first round and knit. I just have to make sure that everything's okay, you know. I'm gonna take the pin out here, because if it's under tension, probably should have done that straight away as soon as I discovered this. But if it's under tension, it's more likely to unravel. So, right, there we go. Okay, so I've got those on there. I think I'm going to split this onto two needles, two stitch holders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore this bit on the other side for a minute because it's not that bad, and then I'm going to, okay, so something's happened here. So it's actually unraveled a few rows here, because I have a bit of a yarn here, but we'll sort that out when it's dry and back on the needles, because at the moment it's wet. So I'm going to pull these stitches that are on this cable here, this green cable or stitch cord thingy. I'm going to pull that back onto the knitting needle and put this edge on a different cord. Now it's quite easy to get them from this cord onto the knitting needle. Getting them from the knitting needle onto the cord is a bit more difficult because there's the little kind of like edge of the cord. So when I'm going from this onto the needle, it slides across this bit here, this join, easier than when I'm going the other way. But you still have to be careful, make sure you don't accidentally pull the whole thing out. I have done that a few times, so, and obviously it's wet now because I've soaked it, so that's not ideal. So take that one off, and then I've got another one, so I'm going to put this one on instead. I probably should have, because I have a ton of these cords, I probably should have put each section, each like length on a separate cord. Just checking that these bits are okay. They are. Just make sure there's nowhere else where, you know, we got stitches off the cord. I have a lot of these cords. I bought a big pack when I was in Norway a couple of years ago, and then I got another big pack when I was in Norway last time. So I have a lot of these cords. So there was no reason at all for me to try and squeeze them onto fewer cords. I should have just put them all on each edge, because there are like 6 wedges, I think. Should just put like each wedge on a separate cord. So I'm going to put this one has like a double thing. So I'm going to put this one through here to secure it. You can also tie these, like tie a big knot in them to secure them. I prefer these because I think they're more secure, but clearly maybe they're not more secure because this clearly didn't work. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put this one through here so they're secured on the same thing. This yellow one is like the longest one I got, and that's quite long. Okay, that's okay. Put this one on here. It was these things which are actually designed to put on the end of your knitting needle. They're not really designed for this, I don't think, and they're the ones that popped off. So, which is good to know, because I think I'm using them for something they're not designed for. Okay, so let's just move the camera around so you can see. There we go. Okay, now we've got to deal with this situation over here. There's fewer stitches. But what I'm going to do is rescue these stitches. These were the ones I kind of noticed first, and I was like, oh dear, that's not good. And then I looked over the other side and I was like, oh. And there may have been a few expletives. Okay, so we're just going to pull these. There was only a couple of stitches here, is that right? 2? Yes, only 2 stitches there, so that's okay. One of them has unraveled one row, which is fine. So I'm going to put this on this green, oh sorry, I can't see. put this on this green cord. And then what I'm going to do, because I'm a bit worried about this one, I'm going to actually, this one goes all the way around, so I'm going to put some of these back on the knitting needle and transfer them to this green one up to here, I think. Basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to split these up a bit more so that I don't have any more disasters. When you pull on this bit, just be careful so that you don't actually pull it off, because I've done that a few times. And it is easier if you're going to do this to use circling needles, because then you can pull them on one end, pull the stitches through to the other end of the circling needle to put it onto a different cord. So I thought this would just be like a quick block it out. I'll just film it, put some music over it. Take me 15 minutes. Oh, it didn't quite work out like that, but there we go. Okay. So now I'm going to secure this one. Let's get rid of that one. So these two, I could tie these two together really, but I'm going to secure them both in this one. This one's not on this design for two, but I think it'll work because I have plenty to go on here. I'm not close to like the edge. And then how far does that one go? That one seems okay. So we'll put this one on here. And then hopefully that will be okay. It was these ones really that kind of let me down, but I've used them for something I don't think they're designed for. They're really designed to kind of go on the end of your circling needles, so you kind of or end of your needle tips, not necessarily circling needles, but I think they're designed so that you pop your knitting needle through those and it keeps your needles together. Obviously it doesn't have to be circular, so it could be straights. I think that's what they're designed for, and I wasn't using them for that, so probably my fault. Right, let's put my camera back to its original position and see if we can do this without any more disasters. Okay, so it's pinned out. It's not perfect. This edging will have kind of like a scalloped edging, so I will use wires so that will look better. I could probably do with a nip blocker there to stretch that out. It's not straight, but I want to get like a rough idea of the size. I also forgot, because originally I pinned these out like straight edge, like along the edge of my table, but these actually come up a bit, and I'd kind of forgotten that. So, but I just want to get a rough idea of the size. I've stretched it quite a bit, which I normally do with my lace, and yeah, it's not blocking out as big as I had hoped it would, but that's okay because I can now take measurements, leave it to dry. When it's dry, I will hang it up for probably a day or two just to see whether it settles down and shrinks back a little bit, but I don't think I've got any more loose stitches, so that's the main thing. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, but this is still attached to the ball. So I have about, I think about 16 grams of yarn left. And that's still attached. So a little bit of that kind of here got a little bit wet. This kind of bit here that I'm pulling out, that's a little bit damp, so I'm going to leave that like that so it dries out, but the actual ball itself is not wet. Make sure that stayed out of the bowl that I soaked this in. So this has been soaked in water and lukewarm water and wool wash, and then I put it all in a towel and squeezed out the excess water, but I made sure the ball of yarn didn't get wet, but it's still attached, so I didn't break the yarn or anything to do this. So it's late morning and just after midday, and I was actually editing the episode when the post arrived. So let's see what it is, because I know it's the pixie yarn, so apologies for the noise. Okay, so this is the Pixie Yarn Summer Solstice yarn. Isn't that pretty? I want to keep them in this till I've decided to use it. So I already have these two. That one I got last year at Stitchfest in Devon. That one, I can't remember whether I got it when I ordered the spring equinox yarn or not, but I got that one because I think those two go together. And then I got these March, April probably. This is the spring equinox 2023, so it's like a quarterly club. This is the spring equinox. I first got this one, which is solid on plain soft, and then I got this one, which is speckles on sparkle. So it's the same colours, it's just one is speckled and one is solid. So I thought they went with these, so plan was to use these in the project. And then last week I saw that the Summer Solstice, which is the second quarter of this quarterly club, came out, and that's those colours. So I got the speckle. I was tempted to get the solid as well, but I decided to get the speckled, although I must admit, is this a solid? Because they're not that speckled. Although I think the other one wasn't that speckled either. But this is on the soft yarn, so it's the same as this one. Oh, they look nice together. So I don't know, because I was thinking about starting the sweater like this month. Do I do a sweater with all these colours? I have an idea. Or do I wait till the next quarterly club comes out and see how it fits in with these? And do something just with the minis. Because these kind of follow on, doesn't it, if you do them in that order? I don't know. I have to think about it. I've got a couple of things I need to do before I start this anyway, and I have a couple of deadlines in July, so it may be a chance I don't have a chance to start this for a while anyway, but it's given me something to think about. So anyway, I'm gonna upload this to my laptop and get back to editing this video, so I'll pass you back to wherever in the video we happen to be at the moment. Coming up on Tuesday, I don't remember the date, but I'll put it below. I think it's Tuesday next week. I'm teaching my finishing techniques workshop at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon. I think it might be full, but I will put the link below, and it's worth, if you're interested and you're in this area, it's worth contacting them because there might still be spaces, or they may have a waiting list. So it's worth contacting them if you're interested. I am teaching a 2-day beaded lace knitting class at the Knitting Hotel in Devon in Dawlish in July, middle of July, and that's probably also full, but it's worth contacting them if you're interested. And they also do day guests if you want to just come for the day, especially if you just want to come for the workshop, or you can come for all 3 days, I think. So it's worth contacting them if you are interested in that, because I do know they take day guests. So if you're a day guest, obviously if you're local you can go home. If not, there are other like B's and B's in the town that you can stay at. A lot of guests that come as day guests stay across the road in a guest house, and that's where I stay as well when I teach 2 days. So that is in July, so I will put the link to that below. Otherwise, I'm busy preparing for autumn workshops at the moment, so if you run a yarn shop and you're interested in hosting workshops, I'm happy to travel anywhere in the UK. Obviously, the further away from Cornwall it is, the more expensive it's going to be. But if you're running a yarn shop or a knitting group or any kind of event and you're interested in having me come and teach, then do pop me an email. You can find my email address on my website, and we can discuss it. I'm starting to fill up for the autumn, but I do have a few dates left. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. We've passed 2,000 subscribers now. Do go and check out the 2,000 subscriber giveaway in the last episode, episode 75, which I'll link at the end of this video and also below this video. Do go and check that out and enter the competition, and I will put the date, well, that closest on the screen because I can't remember. And next week I've got 2 videos coming out. One will be the project vlog for this bag, and the other one may be a podcast episode if I have time to film it, and if I make enough progress on any of my knitting, or it may be something else. I haven't quite decided yet, but do keep an eye on the channel coming up. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.